With almost 1 year until the 2020 presidential election, Republican challengers to President Trump's Republican nominee ballot spots are slowly coming out of the woodworks. In April, the first Republican to announce their campaign to run for Republican nomination against President Trump is Libertarian Bill Weld. While he's economically conservative, Weld supports traditionally liberal positions that could distance him from Trump's fan base, such as supporting abortion rights, same-sex marriage, and climate change action. The next challenger of President Trump's was former conservative radio show host and former Illinois Congressman Joe Walsh. A favorite of the Tea Party, Walsh states President Trump is bad for the country, bad for the Republican Party, and unfit for the White House. Up next is an exclusive interview on Fox News with the next challenger for the Republican ballot nominee for president in 2020. Let's listen in.
Former South Carolina Governor and Congressman Mark Sanford admits a primary challenge to President Trump would be a, quote, David versus Goliath moment. But he's thinking about it. Governor Sanford joins us exclusively here in Washington. And, Governor, welcome back to Fox News Sunday.
My pleasure.
All right. You announced in July that you are considering running for president in the Republican primaries against Donald Trump. You've visited early voting states like New Hampshire and Iowa. Have you made a decision? Are you going to enter the race against Donald Trump?
I have, and I plan to announce that back home this week. We had a hurricane come visit us on the coast of South Carolina, so that sort of disrupted plans on that front. But I'm here to tell you now that I am going to get in.
You're going to run for president against Donald Trump in the Republican race?
I am.
Why?
Because I think we need to have a conversation on what it means to be a Republican. I think that as a Republican Party, we have lost our way. And I'd say so on a couple of different fronts. I'd say first, and sort of the epicenter of where I'm coming from, is that we have lost our way on debt and deficits and spending. You know, one of the hallmarks of the Republican Party and the conservative movement has always been, how much do we spend? I mean, it was Milton Friedman's notion of the ultimate measure of government is how much it spends. I think as a party, we've lost our way. The president has called himself the king of debt, has a familiarity and comfort level with debt that I think is ultimately leading us in the wrong direction. We can get into those numbers, but the numbers are astounding. Just take, for instance, as a data point, this last debt deal that adds $2 trillion of additional debt to our country over the next 10 years, adds $1/3 of $1 trillion of new spending, and really there wasn't conversation on that. So I'd say the epicenter of where I'm coming from is we have got to have a national conversation and a Republican conversation on where are we going on debt and deficits.
But I guess here's the question. When I say why,
sure.
you've got
I'll come in with some others.
Okay, well, we'll get to them.
Yeah.
You've got to know you basically have no chance of winning the Republican nomination, so why run for president?
I think you probably would have said that same thing to Donald Trump just a matter of months ago as he faced the likes of Jeb Bush and others.
Do you honestly think you have a serious chance of beating?
I'm saying you never know. I'd say I'm listing my goals, my primary goals to say let's go out and force or try and create a conversation on that which is not being talked about in this presidential cycle. Once every 4 years we have a chance to have a national debate on where we're going next as Republicans and Democrats and as Americans. And the thing that has been lacking in this debate has been an earnest and real conversation on debt and deficits and government spending. And I find it astounding to watch the number of Democratic debates that I've seen and no mention, no conversation on where we're going with regard to debt and its implications for every one of us.
All right, you talk about the fact that Donald Trump was a long shot 4 years ago. I don't think, first of all, he wasn't running against an incumbent president of his own party. Secondly, let's look at some of the obstacles that you face, because they're sizable. 85% of Republicans approve of the job the president is doing in a recent poll. So he's got strong support in his own party. A number of states, including your home state of South Carolina just yesterday, have decided not to hold presidential primaries at all. And the RNC has done away with its committee to set up debates. So how do you get your message out? How do you even get on the playing field with the president to have this debate?
We're talking right now. We're talking on national television. And I've been talking on a variety of different outlets here over the last month as I've entertained this idea. And it would be my plan to build on that going forward, to go and spend serious time in New Hampshire and in Iowa and a whole host of other states. Again, this is the beginning of a long walk, but it begins with that first step, and that's what I'm announcing here today.